Welcome to Think for Yourself Clubhouse. My guest today is Jessica Baker from Williamsburg, Ohio. Did I get that right? That's in Claremont County. And she and her small group of folks have done something amazing. They're working on an amendment to the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
to try to get on that.
which is going to put a limit on the size of these now data centers. And we're going to talk about that for just a few minutes. So there's a procedure that you go through. You have to draft up the amendment. You have to submit it to the Secretary of State, right?
No. They drafted the amendment, and then once it was done, we started collecting signatures. And we had to get 1,000 signatures to be able to submit it to the Attorney General's office.
For Attorney General.
Yeah, collected 1,800 signatures in 8 days. And that was in very rural areas for the most part. And while we were doing it, we were putting it on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, we had counties in up by Toledo or over by Cleveland, hey, we want that, we want that. The getting petitions from here to there is kind of rough, and we were trying to do that part fast. So we mainly covered that and as local as we could get it, and just said, we're coming, we're just going to get through this part. And then we passed through the Attorney General's office with no problem, and then it had to go to the ballot board. So they had to pretty much say if it was one issue or multiple, and it's really short, it was one. It passed through the ballot board, and once it passed through the ballot board, then we got the okay to start circulating the official petition.
Now, how many signatures do you have to get?
413,000 valid signatures, so we really need about 700,000.
And as I understand it, that you have to get yay many qualifying counties?
44, we need 5% in 44 counties.
5% of the last gubernatorial vote?
Yes.
And you've got to have 44 qualifying counties with that percentage of signatures?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not only a lot of signatures, it's a broad area.
Yes, we can't hit the big cities and get it
Now,
all.
when you and I were doing our prep just a few minutes ago, I was huffing and puffing and saying, no data centers. And you said, wait a minute. It's not quite what our proposal is. Could you explain the difference, please?
Sure. It's to prohibit the construction of the data centers over 25 megawatts power usage. And that
25 megawatts, is that per unit of time or just the capacity of it? That's how much electricity it can take before it bursts? 25 megawatts? I never understood what 25 megawatts means.
So I'm learning all that too. So I'm not sure about the unit of time, to be honest. I know that it like the 2,000 megawatt in Mount Laurel Mount Laurel's a town of 4,000 people. So they don't even use 25.
So it's a measure of how big the thing is.
Yeah.
How much power it consumes, because we know that when you fool with a data center with all the computers and all the electronics that's in there, that takes electricity to run, simply to run, just like a computer.
Yes.
Takes electricity to run. And the bigger they are, the more electricity they take.
And more.
So yeah. But in your case, what you've done, you're limiting the size of the data center by limiting the amount of electricity it can utilize in the process.
Yeah, and we get 2 pushbacks on that. The 2 biggest pushbacks are people who say absolutely no data centers. We don't want any of them. Well, we've been living in data centers around us for decades. We just don't know it because they're not massive like these are.
Sure.
They're not as detrimental like these are. So the 25 megawatts still lets P&G, Kroger, Fifth Third, the hospitals have the data centers that they need to be able to do what they need to do. It's a difference between a community-friendly facility and a massive facility.
Yeah, well, the headlines that we get on these big data centers consuming billions of gallons of water, that's not new. Those are the much larger data centers. How would you express that? Your 25 megawatts, these ones that are being planned, the big ones, are hundreds of megawatts, aren't they?
Up to thousands. Pike County is 10,000 megawatts. Brown County is 2,000 megawatts. Adams County is 1,300 megawatts. Scioto County is 1,000 megawatts. These are massive. These are like nothing we've seen before.
They consume enormous amounts of water, enormous amounts of electricity, and Lord knows what kind of pollution byproducts they're going to generate.
While the EPA lowers the standards on
While the EPA lowers the standards on it, and everything is done behind closed doors.
Yes.
And they don't let you know what's going on.
Yes.
No wonder the citizenry is pissed off.
Very pissed off. They think they're starting to throw out some not true stuff about us in our campaign. I didn't even know we were campaigning. I'm not. This is not. I just want to sell houses. But obviously, if these things go in where I live and where I work, I'm not going to sell a house next to that property, knowing that's going to go in to somebody that's coming in out of state that has no idea. There's no way I would sell that house to that person without them knowing what's getting ready to happen.
Sure.
People ask about our property values all the time, and now I've been afraid to answer that because of, I don't know. We don't know. We haven't had that before. But I can tell you, as a person, I'm not buying a house next to something like that.
Are you still getting lots of positive feedback of people who want to circulate your petitions across the state?
So many. We didn't plan this, so we had to build a whole infrastructure as the petition set off. We've had some wonderful volunteers, the volunteers who do the website, volunteers who have helped me make beautiful spreadsheets. No, she made the beautiful spreadsheets, and I try not to mess them up. That's what it is, because I'm not a spreadsheet person. Because we've had over 600 volunteers come through online, and we have over 100 county leaders in 70-some counties. We want, how do you make sure everything's being done in the county? It's I don't know.
How do you marshal this citizen energy?
Yeah, we have a great response. Some of the volunteers set up in Cormac County, Appalachian Fest just happened. I don't know if you've ever been to that. It used to be at Coney Island, and now they've moved it to New Richmond. A wonderful festival, absolutely wonderful. And they set up a booth there last weekend, and in 2 days they got 1,100 signatures. People, when we go where people are, and we have a sign that says what we're doing, they master us. We don't have to convince anybody. We don't have to say nobody wants this. We just can't get to the people quick enough.
Well, I think we'll can't get much better than that. We're going to stop right there.
Okay.
And point out that this is a purely citizen-led initiative. And by golly, you just might end up with a constitutional amendment that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense for everybody and make Ohio a better place to live.
Yes.
Okay?
We just want to live where we live. We live here for a reason.
Sure. We're here, and to have the citizens rise up and say, this is how we want to live, I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing. Thank you very much.